1. Our hotel receives a lot of business people during the week. If the business and employer wants to pay for their employees to stay, we require a credit card authorization. About a month ago, I had a gentleman come check in. When I asked for his credit card, he informed me that the employer he worked for was paying for his room. I checked his reservation for notes on a credit card authorization and found nothing. I also checked the hotel email and found nothing. I informed him of our policy, which he was fine and understanding about. He told me he was going to call his manager to find out what was going on and if it was sent. He finally got a hold of his manager, told him the situation, and then his manager requested to speak with me. He handed me his cell phone and I explained the situation to my male Karen. The male Karen went off on how he always has issues with credit card authorizations at our hotel. Never had him or anyone else from his company stay with our property previously. He claimed to have emailed the credit card authorization and that it was our fault it was not received. He then asked why I couldn't check in his employee without a credit card authorization, to which I explained our policy. However, he felt I should bend the rules for him. When I wouldn't budge, he then started to swear at me, which for me is a no-go, as I believe I do not get paid enough to be sworn at and attacked personally by a complete stranger. I asked the male Karen to resend and email the credit card authorization, since it was sent earlier, gave him the email, and even sent him a new form. He continued to berate and swear at me. At this point I was over it, and informed him that if he continued to swear and argue with me, that I will happily cancel his employee's reservation, or he could send me over the authorization, and we could get his guys settled. It was amazing to me how quickly the credit card authorization came in after the threat of room cancellation. He informed me that he'd be calling my manager in the morning to discuss our policy and phone conversation. I handed the phone back to the employee, who was so embarrassed by his manager's behavior and apologized for it. He informed me that his boss was not tech-savvy and was a difficult person to deal with. I handed the employee the keys and didn't see him for the rest of the night. I decided to go back to look at the authorization to see if there was a mistake on my end. Lo and behold, was a copy of the original email and the email address it was sent to. The email address was misspelled. His mistake. I kind of chuckled and gave my manager the heads up about the situation and the phone call they'd possibly receive, although I kind of wondered if he realized his mistake and wouldn't call out of embarrassment. The next day, I came into work and asked if male Karen called to complain, and he did. Apparently, he told my manager that he knew it was his mistake and saw that he had sent the authorization to the wrong email, but he was upset that I was not willing to sit on the phone and allow him to berate and swear at me. My manager stood up for me and told him that she understood my point of view and that I did nothing wrong. I could not believe this man's small dick energy. I am not his wife or his therapist, so I am not sure why he felt the need to come after me. But to be mad because I wouldn't take it? I feel bad for his employee. He must be a nightmare of a boss. 2. I work at an extended stay hotel as a front desk night auditor. For context, this is my first hotel job, and my first job where I'm working overnights. I've been at this hotel for a few months now, and honestly, it's probably the least stressful job I've had. But anyway, the purpose of this post is to ask other extended stayers if they run into this similar problem. Some of the guests that are staying with us are with us because they have damage or extreme work being done on their home. One family that we had with us was a mom and a dad and 2 preteen boys they homeschooled. Well, those boys turned into Eloise in the plaza, 'cause they would come down at 10 or 11 and ask for food that wasn't on that day's menu, 2 hours after breakfast is ended. The mom also ran a small catering business and was making the meals in their room. She had the audacity to ask our corporate's GM if she could use our commercial kitchen oven because hers wasn't big enough. Ma'am, you're in a hotel. You should be lucky you even have an oven. Then there were a few incidents where some of our employees caught her or one of the boys in our kitchen stealing our food. It's one thing to take 4 or 5 milk cartons with you when it's breakfast, but to come into our kitchen and try to steal our $50 tub of Greek yogurt is not cool. Well, they end up getting the boot, and it turned out the husband had some pretty hefty warrants out for him, so they quickly left. The next guest, though, whom I have a problem with, is this very sweet lady who is staying with us because of a busted pipe and mold in her condo. She has 2 dogs with her, and our hotel allows 2 pets per room, with a flat $100 fee. Now, this lady and I have always gotten along. She always offers to bring me down food, and I am female presenting and the only employee during the evening, so she likes to check on me. Well, lately she has started to become a little too comfortable with the employees and almost acts like one of us, in a way. She is always interested in workplace drama, which I'm guilty of enabling because I too love a chit-chat. She also has a bad habit of talking to every single guest, even if they are trying to rush out or just very clearly not wanting to talk to someone. This past issue with her was her being in the laundry room. One of her little dogs went pee-pee on her bed, and she brought all of her bedding in the middle of the night into the laundry room. Now you're probably wondering, Jungs, how the hell did she get in there? Well, you see, we have very bad locks on some of the interior doors in our hotel. The door that goes into the housekeeping and laundry room doesn't need a key card, just some Shakira hips that don't lie to budge them open. Then, with the elevator entrance, it's kind of on me. I simply can't get my key to work for that door, and I only received 1 training shift, so that was the one thing I was okay with forgetting. Anyway, there's her bedding sitting in an igloo cooler in the middle of my laundry room. She's wanting to know if we can switch out the washer and dryer so I can start her bedding up. I explained to her that I am not the laundry attendant and did not know how to start the washer for her. She then chimed in that she knew how and would do it with me. Had to tell her no, that is a liability issue, and to wait for when my laundry attendant comes. I gave her a new bed in a bag for the time being. Also want to note, during this time I was under the impression this was the hotel's bedding that needed to be washed. All white sheets looked the same to me, to be honest. When my GM and laundry attendant came to the desk to talk to her, we realized that they were her personal bedding from the condo. The same one with the Last of Us Patient Zero practically living in it. Now, our new situation or dilemma with her is the amount of guests and different guests she allows to stay in her room. Her room is one of our studios, which is normal hotel room sized, except there's a king bed, kitchenette, and queen pull-out sofa. There has probably been 3 different situations where she has allowed 3 different people to stay with her in the room. This current couple that she is allowing to stay with her also have their own doggy with them. Now, making her break our 2 pets per room policy. The guest again is very kind and sweet, but it seems like she is getting too comfortable with some things. It may also be because of the fact that she used to work in the service and retail industry, so she does understand some of the stressors we deal with. Anyway, advice is good advice. Update. I made management aware in the morning, one of the guests who was wanting her personal belongings washed in the commercial washer and dryer. She is the same guest who has allowed the friends to stay with her. Well, the girlfriend of the couple who she is allowing to stay has been here all day. The boyfriend left at some point and returned during my night audit shift. Man could only give me the guest's first name and didn't even give me the right floor number. Luckily, I was able to get through to his girlfriend and she came downstairs. I want to say that was around 12:30, 12:45 a.m. she came down. They have now spent the entire time in the lobby or in the patio smoking and arguing. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. I will let my manager know about this as well. My GM is new at this hotel. This isn't her first hotel GM job, but the interim managers that were here before left a lot of problems unattended, and they have now toppled all on top of our new GM. I love this GM, she's very kind, and she joined about a month after me. Turns out we went to the same high school 10 years apart, and she knew my paternal cousins. Some additional tales before we go. One of the other interior doors it just so happens to not want to lock is the entrance to our indoor pool. Pool hours are from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. My night audit shifts go from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So one of my responsibilities is to close and open the pool. Well, we have this one guest staying with us because her common-law husband was in the hospital next door with a traumatic brain injury. Poor guy was hit head-on by a semi and was in a coma for 3 weeks. They have 2 kids together who are also living at the hotel, one girl around 8 or 9 and a little boy aged 3. The little girl loves spending time in that pool. And I don't blame her. She's sleeping on a pool out in a hotel. That's the most fun thing she can do here. The mom works evenings and comes back around 3 or 4 a.m. We are under the impression she may be an escort or a stripper, but that's besides the point. One morning she was getting change for our guest laundry room and asked me what time I opened the pool up. I told her 6 a.m., and then she asked if I could wait 10 minutes to turn the lights on. She says swimming in the dark is relaxing for her laps. I don't mind this at all because honestly, it means I get 10 minutes of helping with breakfast service. That happened maybe a month ago. Well, this morning, as I was in the middle of writing my last post, I took a second to go turn the lights on in the pool. As I mentioned earlier, the pool door isn't locking at the moment, but I haven't had people try to use the pool at night yet. Because of how cold it is, I take regular trips to warm up the pool. I walk in this morning, and this woman is sitting at one of the tables next to the hot tub with her little side boo thing. Low-key felt betrayed. Like her and I had this one-time agreement where she came to me and asked me for the pool to just be dark. Like I have no idea how long they've been hanging out there, since she came back at 3. Tried using the pool key this evening, but it is still not working. We have a full-time maintenance guy now, so I'll make sure to put a work order in for him. Problem is, like I said earlier, our hotel has a lot of problems that old management wouldn't deal with, and now they have boiled over, causing us to be over budget. One of my big takeaways from this post is that if you are applying for a hotel job or booking a short-term room, make sure to look into if the hotel is extended stay or not. As I said, extended stay hotels are mini apartments with way less red tape. They bring in interesting folks that make my vampire evenings rarely dull. 3. I booked through the hotel. This hotel has a really cool double pool where one is elevated and pours into another. It was also in a tourist-type vacation spot. I initially booked a room that overlooked the pool, then made the mistake of reading the reviews. A lot of guests complained about those rooms being very high humidity, to the point of condensation on walls and such, along with the noise levels of the people in the pool being annoying. Started to second-guess my choice, so I called the hotel to see if I could change my room. It was a few days from my reservation, so didn't know what to expect, but it does not hurt to ask. Called, went through small talk and asked my question, to which I got an apologetic, "Sorry, we cannot help you. There is a big convention in town, and all our rooms are booked," which we found out is a huge church outing thingamajig. Saw big groups of them walking around all weekend. There was also a couple of buses at the hotel. I explained to the lady on the phone that I understand and will just leave my reservation as is. I mean, I booked it without looking into it, so it was what it was, no biggie. Still looking forward to the pool, the surrounding area, and having fun. We hung up on good terms. Told my wife I could not change the room, and she was cool with it, and we started counting down the days. It was about 2 hours after my phone call to the hotel. It was the lady I talked with before, thinking something was wrong with my card or something until she came across Chipper. She told me a room has opened up away from the pool and asked if I was still interested. Happily, I accepted and thanked her for keeping me in mind and working things out. It was such a nice gesture. It made me feel special. I looked for her when we got there but didn't see her. Checked every time we went past the desk. Anyway, I just wanted to share a good story and thank all of you for working through all the idiots, but also the ability to pick up on the good guests and help us out. Keep up the good work. Service industry and dealing with general public is not for the weak. Additional story. One night staying in the pool until closing, one of the church leaders came out and told us they were about to do a few baptisms in the pool. So we chill in the pool. It was partially awkward, being in our swimsuits and trunks, and watching while they baptized a few people, and a big group stood around watching. 4. This happened 17 years ago, but it still comes up in conversation. My husband and I, along with my stepson, who was 13, and 2 daughters, 3 and 6 months old, went to Europe with my parents to visit family. We did a road trip to take in sights before our final destination. During our road trip, when we could, we asked for a 2-room suite so we could have some privacy from the kids. We get to Venice and we check in late. We booked a 2-room at that hotel, and when we got to our room, it was only a double queen room. Which wasn't a problem, it happens, it's part of traveling. We accepted it, and we deal with it when we check out. After 2 nights, when we check out, the kids are packed in the van with my parents. We wanted to make sure we wouldn't be charged for the suite, but for a double queen. I explained this to the front desk with a printout of my itinerary, but the woman at the front desk was a Karen. You reserved the suite, so we'll be charging you for a suite. Yes, I reserved a suite, but I got a double queen, so I would like to pay for a double queen. No, you'll have to pay for the suite. Why? Because you stayed here, but not in the suite. Doesn't matter. My husband then said, so if I ordered a steak and was given a hot dog and ate it, I'd still be charged for a steak? Yes, that's what you ordered. That doesn't make sense. That is what you booked. That is what you pay for. But it doesn't matter what room you got. At that point, she was clearly agitated with our illogical request, and the front desk manager comes up to see what the issue is. What seems to be the problem? They are refusing to pay for the suite. Husband and I explain about the mix-up, and the manager agrees to our logic. Pay for what you got. Charge them for a double queen. But they booked a suite. But they didn't get a suite. But I don't care. They didn't. Move. The manager then makes a few keystrokes at her keyboard and tells us he only charged us for what we got while he gets the amended invoice. The manager goes to the back of the front desk to get the printout. Karen then charges after with our itinerary printout. She's screaming at him in Italian and pointing to the paper. He yells back at her in Italian. This all happened as it was a private argument in a private room, but in full view of anyone who was at the front desk. She yells some more, waving the printout at his face. He grabs the paper from her and rips it to pieces, yells some more and throws the ripped pieces to the floor. We didn't understand the language, but it seemed like he was trying to explain that our previous reservation didn't matter. He then grabs our invoice and returns with a smile, while Karen is still yelling at him. Here you go, safe travels. We take it and get the hell out. As we were leaving, Karen continued to yell at him and him at her. We doubted that she was reprimanded for losing it on the manager, as it seemed like arguing was normal for them. 5. So I just wrote a somewhat lengthy email to my manager about a group of douches tonight. Names have been changed for obvious reasons, but it goes as follows with snippets of info for you guys peppered in. I don't know if Allison has already emailed you or if she is even planning to, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself. We currently have 2 sports teams in-house, and both are college-aged. At least one of the sports teams tonight's was pretty awful. Admittedly, I didn't know which one they actually are, which makes things a little difficult, but their behavior was pretty appalling. Not the worst I've personally seen, but definitely the worst I've seen and heard from a college. When I came into work, there was a group of people, some guys and gals sitting on the red circle couch being very loud. If you're not familiar with House Cedar rules, if you're not familiar with House Cedar hotels, there is a weird circular couch right inside the front doors and about 10 feet in front of the desk. The doors were locked and Allison came and opened them for me. She then told me that one of the team coaches named Brent Elb something had gotten absolutely plastered tonight and wouldn't stop wandering in and out of the front of the building. So she locked the doors and kept him in place. At some point, he had also vomited on the floor, I believe, in the upstairs hallway or by the pool table. The late-night housekeeping guy, I'm bad with names, took care of it. Some of the kids that are part of the team apparently had to carry their coach to his room and put him to bed so that he'd stop wandering about. The other coach did absolutely nothing during this. The second coach was also drunk by the time I came in, to the point that nobody with a right mind would serve him more. After Allison left, they began shouting about how Trump needs to win in 2024. I told the group that they needed to move to the lounge area in the lobby so that they wouldn't disturb the other guests at the ends of the hallway, and they did so without arguing, thankfully. I sure as hell didn't want to listen to them by this point either. They also dug around the lobby for a while, looking for the coach's cell phone, which got misplaced. It was found in his room, eventually. During this searching, he mentioned something about how he had his phone when they went out for brewskis. They finally dispersed and went to bed at about 1:45 a.m., all hammered. The coach, one other man, and I think 2 or 3 women in total. Apparently, the men had never met the women before this night and met here at the hotel. Honestly, I'm appalled at this behavior from a college team. It sounds like they left the kids. I know they're all adults, but I'm assuming they're still supposed to be chaperoned to some extent. To go get drunk at a bar before coming back and hanging out with random women, and getting so drunk one of them threw up on the floor and yelling about politics in a public space. To me, this is grounds for the college to take disciplinary action, right? I feel like I've heard people being fired for much less. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 132. That's Confessions of a Hotel Worker for those who are new. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, I would appreciate it if you press the like button. I know all we pesky YouTubers ask you to do that, but, well, the fact is these videos are recommended by metrics and not just view numbers, so if you poke that button, it lets YouTube know you liked it. You can also leave a comment as well. If you'd like to get the videos a little bit early, then you can support me through my Patreon, which is linked in the description. You'll also find a link to the Hellfreezer merchandise store. Although really, I think everybody who wants merchandise has probably got it by this point. But still, it's there if you want something new. And if you'd be so good, you can make donations during streams and videos like this one. Just press that little heart with a $sign underneath the video, and it will give you options to make a donation, if you'd like to do so. And you don't have to do this, but I very much appreciate it, and given that I've recently started drinking energy drinks again, I'm shaking right now. It's been so long since I have one, my body's like, ooh, that's familiar but also wrong. More. You'll help fund my Red Bull habit. It's an expensive habit. Alrighty, I don't think we've any shoutouts today, I believe. No, we don't. Okay, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: given these difficult and stressful times we live in, sleep is often an elusive friend. So is there something that you need or that you greatly benefit from having that otherwise you find it difficult to go to sleep without? Speaking personally, I generally need at least one fan, preferably 2, going in the room, no matter what the weather is like. It's very cold right now, but I've still got 2 fans going at night. I'm nice and toasty in bed. The fans are circulating the air and keeping things nice and fresh feeling outside. And I generally will have something playing on my phone. I used to have something as I wound down in bed, but as I've gotten older and perhaps more stressed, I've discovered I just kind of let things run through the night. The phone's generally charged, doesn't use that much battery power up unless it's connected to the internet. So that generally keeps me somewhat content. Why don't you let me know what you think in a comment below? And with that, I'm gonna head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.